the one, the only, Ben Sion. Good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, just Daf It Gittin. Today's Daf is Daf It Gittin, number 83. Let's get started. The two dots, about 7 lines down. Tana Rabbanan, Lachar P'tiroso Shurlezer. We had in the previous Mishnah, at the beginning of the parak, Lezer says, and Machlok is between Cham and Rabbi Lezer. What happens if you say chutz, right? I'm a Kaddish woman, chutz. Megarish a woman. I divorce a woman. She's muteris to everybody except my best friend. I don't want a chance that my best friend should marry my wife. So, according to Rabbi Lezer, it works. According to Tanakam, Rabbi Akiva, it doesn't work. So, after Rabbi Lezer died, and I explained yesterday, even with Ben Sion, I'll talk more about this today, even with Ben Sion, the halacha should accord with Rabbi Lezer. I explained why the halacha would accord with Rabbi Lezer yesterday, because Rabbi Lezer is the Manda Amar, Eidei Masira Karsi. That's how I explained it yesterday. I'll talk more about this machlokas, how you see it played out, how we paskin through the Gemara today. I mentioned the Rabbanan happened to be the Pinur and Meir. That's what I thought. After he died, 4 big rabbis came lahashiv al dvarav. They wanted to show that he's wrong. The halacha does not follow like him. Elohein, who are they? Rabbi Yossi Haglili, Rabbi Tarfon, Rabbi Ben Azari, Rabbi Akiva. 4 Rabbanim. Nana Rabbi Tarfon. Rabbi Tarfon got up Amar. Haresha Halcha. It doesn't make sense what he said. Haresha Halcha Zu Venisis La'echav Shalzeh. Right. Let's say this woman, she was divorced with this contingency plan. Right. That she's not allowed to marry his best friend. She got remarried to the brother of this forbidden person. Shenesra Alav Umeis, and then he died below Banim. And they didn't have any children. There's no mitzvah of yibum over here. Right? Normally there's a mitzvah of yibum. Here you can't do yibum because he aser. Halamata she'ein zeh krisos. Therefore, you can't call the get a get of krisos. It has to be krisos because it's not, you're being oker davar min haTorah. Not in Rabbi Yossi Haglili. The Gemara will challenge, the Gemara later on is going to challenge why these claims are not valid claims on Rabbi Lezer. Not in Rabbi Yossi Haglili v'amar heichan matzinu Yisrael lezeh, azal lezeh, mutal lezeh. We never found in the Torah that you can be asr to one person and mutter to another. Asr l'kol. If you're asr to everybody, right? If you're a mekudesh, you're married to a woman, you're asr to everybody. Mutter l'kol. When she's divorced, she's mutter to everybody. Halamata she'ein zeh krisos. Therefore, it can't be krisos if he's going to forbid her to another person. Not Rabbi Lezer ben Azariah b'amar krisos. Davar akoris bin el bin. The simple words of the pasuk krisos. It has something to separate. Halamata she'ein zeh krisos. Doesn't completely separate because of this first husband, she can't marry another guy. So they're still connected. Let's say a woman went, she got divorced with this contingency plan. She can't marry his best friend. She married someone else, and she had children. And then she was either widowed or divorced from her second husband. And then she married this person. So therefore, the contingency was never fulfilled. She violated the contingency. The original get that she got from her husband is batel, and the children she had with the second husband are mamzera. We don't want that to happen. You can't do such a thing. You can't have a krisos like that. Another reason Rabbi Akiva says, let's say the person that the husband forbade her to marry was a Kohen, umeis hamagarish, and then the person who divorced her died. Vis-a-vis this best friend, right? So she's considered an almana, right? Because the gerushin didn't take effect. She remained usher to him, right? When you get married, you're usher to everybody. The isser was never removed from the best friend. So the almana, her separation from her original husband was not through the get, was through the death. But she's a grusha, Esau called him. She is called a grusha for everybody else. If she married anyone else, if it was a Kohen, she can't marry, she's a grusha, kal v'chomer. And therefore we learn kal v'chomer. Ma grusha, she kala, surah b'shvil sad gerish, and a grusha, which is a lesser isser, the only isser d'oraisa. It's only, there's no krisos, there's no chiyuv mises based in for a Kohen to marry a grusha. Because she has a partial gerushin, it restricts her. Eish is shehi chamura, therefore she couldn't marry this guy. Right, even though she's only almanah to him, but since she's a grusha to everybody else, she chamura, a married woman where the punishment is chenek if you commit adultery, lo kol shekain, certainly shouldn't be more stringent over there. Halamata she'ein zeh krisos. We're talking about the actual divorce from this man, a partial divorce, right? If by Gerushin we're Machmer, we should be Machmer when it comes to Eish Ish also. I'm going to interview sure. We should have said to all these rabbis, and Meshivin as Ari Lachar Misa. You can't answer a line after he died. If you wanted to refute him, you have to refute him in his lifetime. You have to give him the ability to answer back. I'm a Rava. Rava says, Kulu Islu Pircha. All of the Tanaic opinions that ask this question, Rabbi Lezer, they all have a weakness with their question. Labar Medirelez ben Azariah. Leislei Pircha. Relez ben Azariah, his question, there's no answer to that. Tanya Amihaki. Bryce says the same thing. Amar Rabbi Yossi Roani is Divrei Relez ben Azariah and Divrei Kulin. I see the word Relez ben Azariah as a better answer to Rabbi Lezer than all the other answers. Amar Mar. Let's quote the Bryce. Nana Rabbi Tarvin Amar Harish Hachla Zubanisis La'achav Shal Zay Nishna Shalav Meis Blo Bonim Lenim Zay Oker Davar Min Torah. Right? Again, you're precluding the mitzvah of Yibum over here. If she would marry the brother of his best friend. Halamata Jain Zakrizos. I'm sorry. So the Gemara says, "This is a davar min Torah." Oker. The Gemara says, "What do you mean oker? What does Rabbi Tarfon mean oker? Iyo aka." Right. The person who gave the get was oker by making this clause. Ela masnel akar davar min Torah. He's making a stipulation, which in essentially could be oker something in the Torah. Oker the mitzvah yibam. Masne mika amar lo sagila lo mitzvah bolei. She said basically he's allowing her to marry everybody. Did she have to go? He's not forcing her to marry the brother of this best friend. She chose to do it herself. Ella Gorim. The Gemara said Gorim. What we're talking about to say is Gorim la'akor. You're causing indirectly for a precept of the Torah to be violated. Ella ma'ata, or to not come to fruition. Ella ma'ata. The Gemara said this is true. Bas achiv lo yisa. You shouldn't be able to marry your niece, right? The daughter of your brother. Shema yimos. Maybe he'll die below banim. Because what happens? If you die, then your brother, who's the father, right? First Mishnah Nizachas Yivamos, there's no mitzvah of Yom and Chalitza. You're Gorim Lakar Dorm Torah. Because now you can't do Yibum. That's where's the Hainu Pircha. The Gemara says that's really the problem. We said all of these questions on Rabbi Lezer have a Pircha, have a weakness. That's the weakness. Uvamai. And what was Ritarfan talking about? Where do you think the Rabbanan and Rabbi Lezer were arguing at? If they're arguing the case of, remember we had two possibilities. They're arguing, what does the word Ella mean? Except for this, does it mean chutz from this person or almanas, that you don't marry this person? Ilema b'chutz, mishashar. If you'll tell me that they're arguing about chutz, where he said, you can't marry anyone except my best friend. The Gemara says, mishashar Rabbi Lezer. Rabbi Lezer allows in that case to marry the best friend. The Tanya, but Bryce says, Moder Lezer Magarish Zishtel Amrla, Arei Mutaras Adam, Chus Mi Ploni. He divorced his wife and he says, you mutaras to anybody except from Ploni, the word chutz. She married somebody else. She was widowed or divorced. She becomes mutter after that divorce or death of the second husband. She becomes mutter to that best friend. She nesra love. We'll explain how that works later on. Ella, the Gemara concludes, ba'almanas. They're talking about almanas. Right? Ritarvin was responding to Rabbi Lezer's shita almanas. Even if you say almanas, make it tonight, right? That's the case where Rabbi Lezer says, he argues and says that it would be a good gerushin. I'm divorcing you on condition that you don't marry my best friend. Not the except he would agree it wouldn't be a good gerushin. But if you said almanas, that's okay. It's like another Tanai Ba'alma. Non Rabbi Yosef Glila. So the second opinion is Rabbi Yosef Glila. Amar Hecham Asinu Asher Lazeh Mutter Lazeh. Ha'asr Asher Lakol Mutter Mutter Lakol. Either you're completely asr, completely mutter. Below the Gemara says this is true. All right, truma v'kachim. So Asr Lazeh Mutter Lazeh. We find these truma in the Torah. Truma is mutter to Kohanim. It's asr to everybody else. Kachim mutter to Kohanim. Asr to everybody else. Isser Isha Kamrina. He was talking about when it comes to relationships with women. Barei Arayas. Be'isha's Kamrina. Arayas, right? Forbidden relationships to certain women. So the Gemara said that's right. Certain Arayas, your mother, right, your sister, these are women that are usher to you, mutter to everybody else. The Gemara is Be'isha's Kamrina. In matters of between a husband and a wife, right? We never found such a thing. Whereas Haray Ish is Ish. What about when you're married to a woman, right? She's mutter to you, she's usher to everybody else. So you do find a case where there's a split. The Gemara is Hainu Pircha. The Gemara says that's in fact the weakness of the rest of this claim. Oh my. What was Rabbi Yossi talking about? You're about almanas. Rabbi Elazar and Rabban are arguing on the case of almanas. Harei hutra eslo biznus. If that was the case Rabbi Elazar was talking about, right, on condition they don't marry this person, it means znus is mutter. So there is a heter with znus. Ela b'chutz must be talking. It must be Rabbi Yossi Galili held the machlokas Rabbi Elazar and the Rabbanan was about the case of chutz, which is in fact what we said yesterday. Another Rabbi Kiva Amar Harisha Hachaz V'Nizis Lechem Eshuk V'Hayu Lo Banim V'Sarman Eskar Shav Amda V'Nizis L'Zesh Neshallah Lo Nimsa Get Badal V'Nam Zerim. The Kiva's claim was it can't be a good get according to Rabbi Elazar because it could lead to mamzeris, right? Because she could end up marrying the guy and then she'll have her second husband in the interim. Their children will be mamzerim. She wasn't divorced. The Tanai was never fulfilled. Ihachi, the Gemara says it is true, but kula Tanai da'aman lo sinsiv. Anytime you make a Tanai, I'm a garish you on that, so you can make $200. You shouldn't be able to get remarried. Dilma lo mekayim Tanai. Maybe she won't give them $200. Until I get batal and mamzerim. Where's the Hainu Pirka? That in fact is the weakness of Rabbi Kiva's claim. Uvamai, what was Rabbi Kiva talking about? You live in Bechutz, Mishra Shara, Rabbi Elazar. If you'll say we're talking about chutz, if she in fact married someone in the interim, Rabbi Elazar actually allows her to marry that best friend. The Sanya, Modei Rabbi Elazar Magarish Zishto, Amar La Rei Mutaras Chaldam, Chutz Ploni Halcha V'Nisis Lechem Menasha, Mizram Nizgarish, Mutaras Zesh Nashallah. We'll explain on Amud Beit how this works, but according to Rabbi Elazar, he agrees in the case where she marries someone in the interim, then she would be allowed to marry a best friend, even though she was previously usher. Ella ba'almanas. Must be talking their argument almanas. Davar acher. The second rebuttal of Rabbi Akiva. Arisha hayaz desh nesher love Kohen. The person that the best friend is a Kohen. Umei samagarish. Lo nimseis almana is love. Grusha is al kalada. And then the original person who divorced her, right, with this partial get. For him, for this best friend, she's an almana. Everyone else is a grusha. Kavachomer, make a kavachomer, not grusha shikala asura mishum sad gershin shabbat. When it comes to a partial type of group, the issur of grusha to a kohen is light compared to Eishes Ish, which is more severe. It carries the penalty of chenek, of death penalty. That's weak, so we say asura mishum even as a partial gershin, we consider a grusha even for this best friend. Eishes Ish chamura lo kolshkin shouldn't be by partial Eishes Ish. We should be machmir, right? We shouldn't allow this partial get to work. Uvamai. What is the machlokas for Elazar and the Rabbanan according to this version of Rabbi Kiva? Yilema ba'almanas, they're arguing almanas. Hare, the top of Pegil and Beis. Hare grusha etzlo biznus. Can't say she's an almana to the best friend. She's a grusha to him also biznus vis-a-vis being mezana, right? She can't marry him, right? Because the almana, the condition is to marry him, but znus is not a problem. She's grusha, klapi the znus. She's not almana. She's not a partially almana, partial grusha. Ela b'chutz. According to this version of Rabbi Akiva, it must be they were arguing about b'chutz. Rabbi Akiva, the more questions, chutz v'yolei. Right, these are two different opinions of what Rabbi Akiva's rebuttal was. If he holds the machlokus about chutz, lo sivlei chutz, he should have asked the question from chutz, which is the second rebuttal. The almanas, if he held the machlokus the Rabbanan was about almanas, lo siv almanas, he should have asked his first rebuttal. Why is he making two rebuttals? The Gemara said Rabbi Akiva shmilei deika da'amar chutz v'ika da'amar almanas. He held there were two versions of this machlokus, Rabbi and the Rabbanan. Manda Amar Chutz High Pircha, Manda Amar Almanas High Pircha. And that's why he asked a rebuttal according to both ways of understanding the Machlokas, Relez and the Rabbanan. Umay Pircha. What's the problem with this last argument of Rabbi Akiva? You name Isser Kuna shiny. If you'll tell me what, that Isser Kuna, you can't compare Isser Kuna to Eishes Ish, because Isser Kahuna is different. Kohanim have different mitzvos. How Elazar Nami Isser Kahuna Kamaisla? Elazar himself, one of the sources, there were two sources of Elazar, that a partial gerushin, right? Ish by Kohen, it says Isha Grusha Mi Isha, even from a husband. There was the first source was V'yatzav Haisal Isha, even if she's mutter to one person. So according to the second version, we learned that from Kahuna. So there is a connection between Kahuna and Eishes Ish. The Gemara says Rava Karabiyane. Rava who says there was a pircha with all of them. He held the legitimate version of Elazar. Where did Elazar know that a gerushin to one person is considered a gerushin? The first source, which is not related to Hilchos Kahuna, and therefore you can't compare Hilchos Kahuna. That's the pircha on Rekiva. You can't compare Hilchos Kahuna to Hilchos Eishes Ish. Amar Len Rabbi Yeshua. In Mishivan is Ari Lachar Misa. Rabbi Yeshua, when he heard about these rebuttals to Rabbi Elazar, he said, you can't ask questions of Rabbi Elazar after he died. Does that mean Rabbi Yeshua held like Rabbi Elazar? We'll see in a second, Rabbi Yeshua had his own question. We didn't get to that yet. He has his own question of Elazar. So the Gemara says, the didi nami isle pircha. According to me, there is a pircha. Miu bein l'didi bein l'didchu emeshir as ari lachar misa. I also have a problem, but even if I have a problem, you have a problem with what he said. You can't ask a Talmud Chacham. You can't question him after he died. You can only legitimately question him when he's alive, so he has a chance to answer back. Well, my pircha the Yeshua. What is in fact the question of Yeshua? The Sani Am Yeshua makish kod me havaya shniya kod me havaya rishona. Right? We have to compare the woman's situation before she got married to the first man, before getting married to another potential man. Ma kod me havaya rishona lo agida b'ina shachrina. Just like when she's marrying the first man, she's not attached to any other man. Otherwise, she can get married to him. A woman can't be married to 200 people. Af kod me havaya shniya lo agida b'ina shachrina. It can't be like Rabbi Elazar, because if he's only divorced from this man partially, meaning she's still ushered to another man, she's still connected to this man through the Tanai or through the Chutz. She's still connected to him through the terms of the Gerushin. So it can't be that's a valid Gerushin. Gufa. Mod Elazar v'iyarish yishtal amar lahareya mutaras l'chol chutz v'ploni v'halcha nizis la'achem nashuk v'nitzram v'nitzgarcha shemutaras l'eshne asher alav. Elazar, we quoted this brayso on Amud Aleph. Even Rabbi Elazar holds that it works, this Gerushin, if she in the interim marries someone else who she's allowed to marry, and then she divorces or gets widowed from that person, and then she's free to marry even that best friend who she was previously ushered to. Heishi Rishim and Elazar Tshuva Divra Rabbi Elazar. Right? The reason Elazar holds is because once you marry the second person, so that the terms of the Gerushin of the first person are dissolved. The Gerushin falls. You were Makayim the time of the Gerushin. Now you have a new marriage. Once you have a new marriage, you start over again, and the original terms of the first Gerushin are batel. However, Rishon Elazar had a tshuva, had a rebuttal to Elazar. How do we find one person could aser, and you, by going and marrying another person, can matir? Below, is this true? Usually the person who aser has to matir. The baal oser of yava matir. The husband, by marrying her, asers her. Right? And the yavam is matering the isra of Eishazak. You're normally not to marry your brother's wife, but in this Yivam you're allowed to. And whereas Hasim Yavam who the Kasal, it's not the husband who asks, the Yavam asks her. Right? The husband when he marries, right? She was muteres technically, right? The Yavam, right? The Yavam, by being the Yavam, he's the one who asks her by being the Eishazak. It's not the husband answering, it's the husband, it's the Yavam answering, and therefore he's the one who's matering when he's in the midst of Yivam. So the Gemara says, Hari Nadarim, the Nodar Oser Chacham Matir. When you take a nether, you aser, and the Chacham Matirs. The Gemara rejects it. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Ein Chacham Matir Klum Ela Becharata. He holds, Rabbi Yochanan says, a Chacham could only matir a nether not through a Pesach, only through a Charata. Charata means I regret basically what I did. So, when you're regretting what you did, you took the nether, and you're just showing that it never took effect. You're regretting it. A Pesach is similar to a charata, actually. A Pesach shows the nether never took effect. Charata also works through that. It's just the reason when it says Rabbi Yochanan holds you only matir a nether with charata, because the opinion says the charata doesn't work, holds the method of Pesach is done through the chacham. Pesach is not that it's a nether toast. He's revealing that it's nether toast. He's actually removing the nether. But according to Rabbi Yochanan, that's not the way it works. The nether is batel. Pesach works showing it's a nether toast, and charata works to show I regretted it. I never really took the nether upon myself. Harei hafaras habal. What about a baal when he nullifies his wife's nether? The isha neder is a baal meifar. The wife makes the nether, and the husband is meifar. Hasam ki Rav Pinchas made the Rava. We can understand that according to Rav Pinchas made the Rava. Now Rav Pinchas made the Rava. Kol nederas tadas baal nederas. Any woman who takes a nether, she's essentially pinning it on the husband, right? Because usually the vows that a husband can annul are the ones that ruin their marriage or cause her to have nevil, to not look good. So it's important to the husband. So it's essentially the nether is being done by the husband. She's doing it with the husband's discretion. So the husband took a nether and he can remove it if he so wishes. Halamata shein zakrisus. So the final opinion, which was accepted as a good rebuttal of Rebbe Lezer, he says the word krisus, it has to be separated between them. When you have a partial get, it doesn't separate fully. V'Rabbanan. Now, it's very interesting the Gemara used the word Rabbanan. Rabbanan refers to Rebbe Lezer. Rabbanan. Who's Rabbanan? It could be the other Tanai, we didn't ask this question, but it's also including Rebbe Lezer. Hi, krisus my avile. What do they do with the word krisus? It's a drasha on the word krisus. So the Gemara says, you need for a different teaching. You give her a get on condition that you don't drink alcohol anymore, drink wine anymore. But you never go back to your father's house. La'olam. Forever, the rest of your life. Ain't that krisus. That's impossible to be Mekayim. You should never go back to her father's house. She should not drink alcohol the rest of her life. That's not a good get. It has to be something which is possible, which is something which will actually sever the bond of marriage. This tonight will never be able to be Mekayim. However, if she says, don't drink wine, don't go to your father's house for 30 days, that's attainable, that's possible. So it is a good krisus. That's what Koris is teaching of Ida. Where does he know this second teaching? The Koris krisus. It could have just said with a Koris. Why did he say the longer word krisus? To have two drushes. V'ida and the Rabbanan. Koris krisus lo darshi. They don't hold that we make it. The Torah was just speaking in derech lashon b'nei adam. The way to speak is sefer krisus, not sefer Koris. It's not a normal way of speaking. So therefore, there's only one drusha available. I'm a Rav. Rav said, I'm divorcing you. You can't drink wine the rest of my life. Ain't that krisus? It's not a good get. But if I say the entire life of Jack Smith, Jack Daniels, Harei that krisus. It is a krisus. So the right? The reason but your friend's life is he might die, so it's possible it'll be niskayim. Tonight, he could die tomorrow, and you can start drinking alcohol. Maybe he himself will die. What he meant to say, Rava, was if he says you can't drink wine for the rest of your life, which is what we said before in the Brisa. However, if you are told the neder based on my life or the life of my friend, that's okay, because it's possible they'll die, and it's possible she'll have a chance to drink alcohol once in the rest of her life. Since that's possible for people to go ahead. If you say the rest of your life you can't drink alcohol, you can't eat sugar the rest of your life, tell people with diabetes, you can't eat sugar the rest of your life. It's a pretty harsh sentence. It's pretty cruel. You don't know how terrible diabetes is for people. But tell people they can't drink alcohol the rest of their life. They can't go back to their fathers the rest of their lives. That's something which doesn't have an end. Even if it has a possibility, you go to jail, you have parole. A possibility of parole. So that's something you can at least live for. But to not be able to go back to your father's house, to be able to drink wine the rest of your life, that's something which is, definitive. Something which is never going to end. And when there's no possibility, when there's no hope, when you take away hope, that kills people. And therefore, it's not considered krisos. We'll conclude today's shir over here. Stay tuned for Iyun Ben Sion. I want to talk more about what I talked about yesterday, how we paskin halacha in the case of the Mishnah, where you say, I'm a garish you chutz from this poloni. I have a proof from today's Gemara, what the halacha should be, like a couple of proofs, and I'll talk about that. Iyun Ben Sion coming up next.